and welcome to Creative Vitality Jam Sessions. Here we have intimate conversations with extraordinary dance and theater artists about reimagining creativity and supporting and building community. CVJS and I walk in solidarity and as allies for equality, justice, and respect. Black Lives Matter. Today is a very exciting day. It is Inauguration Day of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm Helen Pickett, and today's beautiful guest is Natasha Diamond Walker. She is a soloist dancer, among other things. She's a soloist dancer with Martha Graham Dance Company, and we have known each other since 2003. Welcome, fellow Californian, I have to say.
Yes. Hi, Helen.
Hi.
It is such an honor, and I love seeing your beauty in front of me right now.
Oh,
thank you.
Oh, Natasha, I'm so happy to see you too. It's funny, I think, when you develop these deep relationships through the years, it really is true that the actual passing of time, and we know time is a construct anyhow that we make, but the passing of time doesn't really feel like that. It feels like we saw each other yesterday. And that's also lovely, to just pick up where we left off somewhere,
Yeah, I agree with you. I think when you have a connection with certain people, it just is that way, and it remains that way. It's remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah, it shows you how strong that is in human beings, what that positive, and that's also important, right? During this time, this kind of community feeling, when it's there and it's shared, how deep it goes and how strong.
Yeah.
That, that energy is far stronger, I believe, than the converse, than the other side.
I believe so too. And it's something we can always pull from, right? Like as long as we have it, it's a source of that love and that light. And during these times, it's like so important to have those relationships.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So the first question for everybody is, where in the world are you?
I am currently in New York City. I haven't been here for the entire pandemic, but I am here now. I'm grateful to be back. New York City, I consider to be my home. I'm from California, and I spent a large portion of this pandemic in California, about 5 to 6 months, because my family's there.
Yeah.
I felt I wanted to be with my family during this like kind of dark time. And it started to feel like LA was not doing so well anymore. And I was like, I think it's time to go back to my home city. So I am back now, and I'm so happy because New York has these little morsels of kind of coming back to life, if you know what I mean, like slightly more than Los Angeles. So I'm so happy with that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I have a similar feeling. I'm from, as you know, from California as well. I made a 3-week trip home to see my parents in September, but I've been here in Philly the whole time. But I, like you, feel like New York is also a home. I spent 20 years there, and it feels like a home city. And that is also partly due to the fact that the energy of that city. I was there for 2 kind of calamitous situations. There was a huge blackout. I don't know if you remember that, but I was still teaching, I believe, at Alia, and it lasted like days. And I had to walk home from Midtown to Park Slope because, everything was shut down. But what I saw the city do in that walk, the bodegas all offered water. People were on the street leading traffic. I mean, and then of course 9/11, and I saw this gigantic city like pulled together. I mean, that's what I tell people, that, New York City runs deep as far as like it's sisterly and brotherly love. Yeah.
Very deep. And it is like so resilient, you know, it's constantly turnover, whether you are a new budding startup restaurant and you're not doing well, and so you get kicked out, and then instantly there's another one in your space that just has this like turnover, this like evolution, this very cyclical energy to it that it's just so exciting. And I think it fuels the culture.
Oh, yeah.
City. It's magnetic.
Yeah.
It like pulls you in.
Yeah. So let's start with you amazing, beautiful person, Natasha. At 10 years old, you went to a performance of the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater in LA, and your dance dream was your word. Fast forward to your acceptance at Fordham University in NYC, pardon me, Fordham in NYC, and that's where we met. Once graduated, you worked with many choreographers as a freelancer, dancing and experiencing many styles. How did this plethora of styles inform your style, your idea of identity? And did this path plant seeds in, or did it fortify you to be comfortable or even welcome the ever reimagining that is an artist?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that the Ailey program I went through is incredibly complex. And while I was a student in that 4-year BFA program where I met you, I felt I was exposed to so many styles already, right? So that was already such a gift in my becoming who I am, becoming, you know, the styled of dancer that I am today. So that was, I'm incredibly fortunate for that. Especially, particularly you and Francesca Harper, having come from Ballet Frankfurt and having that incredible knowledge of Forsythe modalities and ballet and contemporary ballet and the use of your body and space and time. So when I graduated, I worked a lot with Francesca Harper.
Yeah.
Hi, Fran. Hi, Fran. And I also worked with Samar Haddad King, who I think was also one of your students.
She was. I love her.
Yeah, and she
trailblazer.
Yeah, she also has that feeling of, you know, those modalities in her work as well, very present. And I worked with Jacqueline Buglisi, who I met at Graham, who is not at Graham, at Ailey, who is a former Graham dancer, Martin Lofsness, and Whitney Hunter, who those three people were Graham people. So the opportunities to work with them really shaped who I was at the time. Let's see, I was probably like 21. And I think we already have like our unique styles, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of born into a certain personality. Your body has this like natural, like I'm really tall, I'm 5'10", I'm long arms, long legs, got this hair. So it has like a vibe to it already that I was naturally, innately having already. But not only working with these people after college, but also getting to travel with them, to go on tour with them, to be in the circles in which they were in, to go to the shows that they went to talk to them about the things that inspired them, to watch them and evaluate how they generated movement, what kinds of things inspired them. I think that I taught those things, and I helped me discover how to find those things within myself, like my system, as you could say. And definitely just living in New York City is like a huge gift to any artist in terms of figuring out who you are, because there's such a diverse community of artists, of cultures, It's very visual. There's a lot of sensory stuff going on. So all of these things I really pulled from. And I would say when I left college, I was just so open. I was so just like a sponge to the world. And I was set loose into New York City, which was good and sometimes not so good. But it really, all of those things and all of the people that I worked with, including the commercial work I did. You know, I was working a lot with like TV, on camera, modeling. Every experience that I've had has helped to shape who I am and my identity as an artist today. So absolutely.
Yeah, I say that too, you know, that I'm the sum of my life,
Yes.
you know, and but I do take responsibility to keep replenishing
Yes.
that you know, that hamster wheel of ideas. You know, I really like I actively go to museums. I actively, you know, read. I'm a gatherer, and I believe that you know, it's, I always feel like that chipmunk. You know, I have the knowledge. I no, I don't want to say that. I want to say that I like to gather knowledge, and I think New York is really, man, it's on every corner.
It is. It's so readily available if you're open to it. You know, not everybody can see it. Not everybody can feel it. But I think as artists, as we are, that is just a natural thing. You just kind of are inspired and you take things and you know, you hold on to them and they manifest somewhere else in our life in an incredible way. Yeah.
So let's see. Oh yeah, here in 2011, you auditioned for Martha Graham Dance Company and had the opportunity to perform with them as a guest artist. Can you speak to the ensuing events, including the work? Help me with this. I was going to go Italian, and then I went. Is it Cercando?
Cercando Picasso.
Yeah, Cercando Picasso, and the subsequent performances that took place throughout Italy, and how it led to you joining MGDC. And I just want to say before you start, I think this is a really important question for younger dancers to listen to, because listening to different journeys, right, and how people got to certain places is very valuable, you know, because it's important. They're all so different. So can you take us through those sequence of events?
Yes, I would love to. So I want to say, first of all, that I auditioned young dancers. I auditioned for the Graham Company more than 3 times. It was not my first audition that I got into Graham with. Janet Elber, who is the artistic director of Graham, came to the Ailey Fordham shows, and she saw me as a senior performing my senior solo. And afterwards, she contacted me and told me that she really enjoyed me. She would love to have me in the company. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, this will be the company I dance with. 3 auditions later, right? I went to those auditions. I was like, I thought you wanted me, but there wasn't a spot, right? You know how important it is to actually have a contract available. Sometimes it's not about your talent or if someone wants you. There really has to be that physical contract for you to come into. So like my 3rd or 4th audition, I got to the end of the audition, as I had gotten to the end of all the others as well. And Janet said, you know, there's this really special opportunity that the Graham Company is involved with this year. We are looking for 8 women to be a part of a project that will be in Italy. And it is basically a theater production centered around one central male actor, Italian actor named Giorgio Albertazzi. And he will be playing the role of Picasso. And the 8 women will be around him, kind of expressing the life and times, the climate per se of Picasso's life. So they pulled from Graham's choreographies like Chronicle, Embattled Garden, like different parts of her choreography, and kind of like used it to create the landscape of certain scenarios of war, of his lovers, so on and so forth. So of course I said yes. And also prior to me saying yes, she offered me a job in Graham too, because she said, you know, I can't take you into the main company, but I can take you into Graham too. And I was like, well, what's Graham 2 like? She was like, it's a junior company and it's not paid. And I was like, no, we're not doing that. Like, New York City, I got to pay my rent, I have my phone, you know, so on and so forth. So I was ecstatic. We rehearsed in New York for 2 months, and then we went to Italy and we rehearsed for like another month and a half. And then we started the performances of this show called Cercando Picasso, which means searching for Picasso. And we were in Sicily first, Messina, Sicily, which is the south of Sicily, gorgeous. I had never been to Italy prior, so I was just like living it up. I was living a dream. And the second year, we traveled around Italy. So we went to maybe like 15 different cities in Italy with this show. And during that second year, as the show of Picasso came to a close, 2 new shows were created for the Teatro Greco in Siracusa, Sicily's summer showcase. So that was a show called Bacchanti, which is about like Bacchanti, the Bacchae, and then another one about Pirandello. And not all of the dancers went into those shows, but I was asked if I wanted to do these shows, and I said, of course. Like, stay in Italy for another 2 months, like, of course. So I spent a good 2 years in Italy, and one day we were staying in a resort hotel on the beach, and Janet was like, hey, come here, like, let's have a chat. And she was like, you know what, you're doing so well, and do you want to join the company? And I was like, yes, I want to join the company. Like, it was on a beach. I can't even explain it to you. It was just like picturesque, dreamy, perfect. I was like over the top happy. And that was it. That was it. And I really would say that because of those 2 years working so intensely with this project, I was ready. Like, I knew what it was like to be in a company. My body, like, technically, I was like physically super strong. So I was just ready to jump right into that company life, or so I thought. And that's what happened. And I was incredibly just so grateful and honored. I didn't know I was going to dance for Graham. I wasn't one of these people from a young age that was like, Martha Graham, like, that's the company for me. And as, I don't know if you feel the same, but most dancers from college, you just want a job. Like, you were like, please someone hire me. Like, I want to dance. You're open to dancing for whoever, not whoever, but you know, you have some selections, but any job is wonderful. So to be welcomed into the Graham company, a full-time company job with benefits, it's a union contract, it's just like the creme de la creme of dance jobs. So that was my journey. It was very exciting. Italy was very exciting for me. There was lots
talk about, were you 22, 23 in Italy?
No, at this time, this was, let's see, I was like 21 when I graduated. So it's probably like closer to 24.
Okay, but still, that experience, you know, in your 20s, I mean, that shapes a person as well, to live in a culture outside of something that you know. And you know, my adventurous heart, when I read that, I was like, oh man, I would have gone there too, like in a heartbeat. And it's a wonderful story of your journey.
Yeah.
You said one word which really sums up everything. And I kind of thought this about you also when we were in class together at Alia. You were ready. And I think it might have been subconscious when you were a kid. Well, I'm calling you a kid, but you know, in college. But your readiness, I believe, helped you also. It's an energy. And I think, you know, this also in your performance, you know, they saw this, and then she asked you, and then asked you to do this, this 2-year gig, which nobody knew was 2 years, but it evolved to 2 years.
Exactly.
And, it is like, I really understand later on how important it is to really, it's not like you were in a 2-year audition, but, you were stepping up to the plate again and again. This is someone that directors look for.
Yes.
It's that, whether it has to be painted on in the beginning, that courage, or whether it's innate, and you might not know it's innate to be ready. You might not know that that's your energy, but sometimes you just have to go, right, so pull the boots up, scared, but I have to take this step. And that could be enough, so I
Helen,
think
that's so true. Yeah, just like, and that consistency of every day, right? Like, today is one day, but now it's 2 days. Oh wait, now it's a month of this same daily practice, which, is so important to our work. I mean, we
well,
learn.
you also mentioned it. Ailey set you up. I mean,
Yes.
Ailey's a tough program. Ailey Fordham.
It's a tough program.
And I'm saying, thank goodness. Like, I believe in high expectations, and the Ailey School. I mean, I taught the freshmen, and it's challenging. And I was really, you guys got a great education all around, and that's a good setup also to be ready for a company, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I think it is, yes, it's something perhaps innate in people that become successful, but not every person that becomes successful stays there that long, right? So we have to look at what else is it that makes that happen, that the longevity of that. It's fascinating. And I feel like, for me, the most successful, the group of people, the tribe that I feel most connected to that are like me are in New York City. And I have met them in New York City. So there is something to be said about this magical place that we call home. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. In 2013, you had your first season with MDC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And now you are a thriving soloist in the company, have been for a while, dancing such lead roles as in Appalachian Spring, Diversion of Angels, Embattled Garden, Cave of the Heart, Ecstasis Solo, Maple Leaf Rag, Secular Games, Clytemnestra, and more. What is it like? This is really from a dancer point of view now. What is it like because Martha Graham is such an icon, right? And she was such a strong, everything, like you could feel her, right? What was it like to immerse yourself in this seminal work? And, again, it's because I've only read about the passion and will and the drive that this woman had, and that she was a game changer. That's a strong energy. I worked with one of those energies as well. So what was it like to be in this seminal work? And I'm interested in the all-encompassing journey that was Graham for you. Can you go into this?
Yeah, I mean, just you talking about it is just like, it's like this weight of depth. It's so deep. It was, first of all, it's incredibly rewarding work for me to do. And I want to say that when I first, even coming out of Picasso into the company, I was inserted into really featured roles, really lead star featured roles as a new dancer that I did not have experience in learning how, like I wasn't experienced yet in learning how to learn roles, to switch between ballets. So it was really difficult for me. It was really challenging. I remember having conversations with Janet in her office, bless you, Janet, where I was just like crying. And I was just like, I'm so stressed out. I don't know if I'm doing a good job. I don't know if I can do it. Am I doing a good job? And then I just realized, like, everyone feels this way. Like, everyone feels this way. It's not just me. And time is of the essence. Time is like, it's something that we don't have enough of as artists, right? We have to crunch in like an intense period of learning. And I think this is an American thing. I think in Europe, they have, to me, it feels like they have more time to like go deep. I'm not sure, but it just feels like the creative process of creating is a little bit longer. So I really felt that pressure of time, and it was hard. That aside, the work itself is so rich. It's so meaty. It's nuanced. I have never seen works quite like Martha Graham's that are about like a woman who is betrayed, who is scorned, who murders. She's murderous. The psychology that is going on in these ballets is just like, I'm getting chills now. It's so nuanced and layered. It's very theatrical, which I find to be a very comfortable place for me. I love being an actress. I love the theater, the drama, the angst of her ballets. And having that sort of depth to the work, but it being like 5 ballets of that sort of depth, right? Like different characters, is so special. It's like changing hats, right, between it, and it happens all in one day. Like, we work from 12:30 to 7, and we may move through 5 different ballets of 5 incredibly different scenarios. And on top of that, you have the technique, right? The technique that we start every day with, which is it's it's a lifeline into her work. You start, you know, it's the breathing, and it's in the floor, and it's the drama of the torso, the spiraling, the sharpness. It feels very religious. It has this sort of like spiritual quality to it, which when I read about Martha Graham and I read about the beginnings of it, those dancers that followed her, people say they were like a cult. They were very much like Martha Graham, like not just because she was a fierce woman, but the work requires you to be so intensely, you know, present and connected in. I can't just come into a rehearsal and know that I am going to save a woman from killing her son and her husband and just kind of come in, oh, la-di-da-di. No, it's like this preparation that you have to constantly be tapped into when you know you're going to come into it from the subway, right? So I'm on the subway, I'm already like getting ready for it. I'm already reviewing the steps and the music. What's my intention today? And then another layer of it is this company has been around for almost 90 years. So I'm stepping into roles that have already been performed for many, many years. And who am I inside of these roles, of these legendary dancers performing them? So there's something very unique about repertory companies, I feel like, and the history of Graham. And then on top of that, we're not only performing Martha's ballets, like we perform new works in the company, Nacho Duato, Bobby Jean Smith, Pam Tanowitz, Carl Abraham. So the uniqueness of being able to be on it in those Graham ballets, that actress, that storyteller, and then to drop it and go into like something contemporary, something that is like Merce Cunningham, where it's the line, or it's the musicality or the technique forward sort of approach. It's incredibly challenging, but as you know, like some of the deepest challenges we face create the most satisfaction and the most pleasure. And yeah, it's such an honor. Some of my darkest and brightest memories have been as a Graham dancer in her work, in her company. And it's an incredible honor. It's glorious and it's very dark. It's dark and it's glorious. And I just love the contradiction and the contrast of those. There's nothing like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, first of all, just beautiful to listen to that, and feeling so many.
It's a lot, I know. It's like
no, Natasha, no, it's beautiful. I just wanted to say I have so many meeting points in listening to you and feelings that came up, you know, as far as experiencing those kinds of things also personally. But a question came up. It's just a curiosity. After doing this kind of work, something that is so deep, I know you worked with other choreographers in the company. I had as well with Bill at certain points, but do you think that you could, or is there another company you could see yourself dancing in after this experience?
I think I could see myself dancing with Pina Bausch. I think her is very applicable. Is that what you were thinking?
I didn't want to say it, but like in listening to you, you know, because I lived in Europe during the time where she was really also there, and I thought, man, Pina Bausch is like, she's a sister, you know.
She is. You know. She's the same tribe. She's the same tribe for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely Pina Bausch. And then also like, shoot, her name is kind of escaping me right now. But there's a couple of women that are more like theater based. Like I feel like this sort of work prepares you for experimental theater also, like in that way of like pulling deep from your guts, like these intense feelings.
Is that choreographer Miami based?
Is she?
Because
I'm not gonna say her name is Martha Clark is something that's coming to me.
Clark is wonderful.
But she could be, yeah, or like even working with like Maxine Doyle, Sleep No More, like that's very much in that same vein, I feel like as well. Yeah. But definitely, I've always loved Pina Bausch. I never made it to one of her auditions because I've been at Graham, but whenever I go to her shows, it just feels so similar, so similar. Yeah.
Beautiful work too. I mean, thank you. That was.
No, thank you for asking that.
I learned.
Yeah.
Natasha, just staying here a bit longer, as a member of the Graham Company, you were the first African-American woman to perform Graham's iconic solo, Lamentation, in America. Mm-hmm. The solo is from 1930.
Yeah, it's been around.
You know, can you expand on that journey a bit?
Yes. So after calculating 1930, I didn't just do this math. I calculated it before. 88 years it has been since this solo was created. And of course we knew, everybody knows about Lamentation. It's something that the company has been doing for many years. And my first personal experience in learning the solo was in 2018. Graham was doing a collaborative residency at Google, actually, where Google was introducing some new technology like body cameras, cameras that follow the movement of the body and reproduce it through like shapes and design, like very interesting visual work. And I was asked to come in and work with Lamentation with a camera called the Connect Cam. And what they were doing was they were taking all of the content that they had of Lamentation in the archives from 1930 until today. So they were taking images, pictures, videos, and they were putting it into a computer program that when I made the shape of said lamentation thing, it pulled up every image that was in that same order of that shape. So it was very digital, but when I was doing it, like there was like a sort of fabric sheet that I could see through. So the projections of the pictures of, like, let's say Peggy Lyman, Martha Graham doing the same thing were projected right onto me, and I could see them. So it was like this incredible, ghostly, eerie sort of feeling of being with these women that had performed it prior to myself, and me moving with them. So this was my first experience with the solo, which was, it's not traditional, because usually you learn it and you perform it on stage. So in this capacity, I felt like able to really dissect the solo in a very interesting way. So that was really cool. And then fast forward to 2020, in October was Fall for Dance. And Janet asked me, at the time I was in Los Angeles, and she was like, you know, Fall for Dance has requested that you perform Lamentation. They feel like it's a really important solo connected to the times, which absolutely it is. It's all about isolation and grief. And she asked, would I like to perform? And I was like, of course I would like to perform it. So I came to New York. We rehearsed together for a few months, which is very special, because normally in our normal rehearsal time, Janet, she comes in and out of rehearsals, but she's not very one-on-one per se with the artist. So it was just me and Janet, and we were rehearsing Lamentation, and it's an incredible solo for many reasons. One, because it's groundbreaking that it was this type of fabric that was just this one tube. It's just like a single tube of fabric that Martha Graham experimented with in like trying to stretch it. And in this experimentation, she was expressing the drama of grief, the drama of being alone, of loss, of death, of losing people that are close to you. And, you know, for me to be performing the solo and working on the solo in this time of grief, it was so poignant and very sad. It was very sad for me. And also being alone, like the company wasn't around, had the mask on. It was kind of surreal. When I went to the theater, no one else was there. There was a completely empty city center, unheard of. And it kind of, you know, it hit me in a way. I was like, is this like the new normal? Is this what it's gonna be like me performing to an empty house and it being recorded and live streamed? Like there was this real sense of presentness of like, is this what is happening now? On top of the honor that I felt in being there as an artist, and also just being the first woman, African-American woman, to perform this solo. But in a way, that duality of being the first, right, African-American woman, and to be alone, isolated, it was like this full circle, transcendent moment for me. And I felt like an ambassador, not only for other women of color, but for the entire company, for all artists right now. It was huge. It was a huge moment for me. And I was alone in doing it. I can't forget that moment. I felt incredibly by myself, and yet maybe it was seen by more people than have ever seen anything else that I performed, because of the access to online. But it's a beautiful solo, and the music is beautiful, and it's one of my favorite things to perform as a soloist. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
But you love, got this from also something you wrote, you love to dance, of course, act, sing, and design. You also enjoy commercial work and have trained at the Esper Studio. How do these different artistic paths expand and nourish your artistry?
Well, I definitely feel more of like a nuance to my performance, because as for whichever job, like if I'm dancing, let's say, and I'm given information on who I am in that dance, for me, the acting instantly kicks in, right? So I'm already thinking about what happened before, what does it smell like? Like, what do I hear something, right? It's like all of these little details that come into play that maybe wouldn't necessarily happen for me had I not studied and had experience as an actress. Even though I feel like dancers are naturally actors as well. It's been wonderful to really hone in and cultivate things through like that clinical sense of studying and reading about it. And I love knowledge. Like the more knowledge, the more anything I can get into me, I know it will come out and manifest itself in my performances.
Yeah.
So I believe that is what makes me special on stage. That is what people, I hope, remember about my performances. That I'm actively doing the work to express all of my experiences and all of everything that I have in me at every single moment that I'm on stage. So yeah, I think it's, and people have told me that they feel my performances are nuanced, and that's an incredible compliment. So I think that that's something I take away from having all of those things in me. And the imagination, right? Because the imagination, like whatever you feed it, it almost like multiplies like 100 times with that information. So that is a blessing. And the mind is just like, incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when I hear you describe this, you know, the word present keeps coming to mind, because it is that, you know, as a choreographer, one of my big things, I hear you, and I hear that you're also very connected to your sensory system, as I am.
Yes.
And one of my big, so now 15, 16-year process in choreography has been how to break that fourth wall and have these sensations land. That's how I use it, on the spectator's skin.
Yes.
Or, you know, in a physical way. I'm really talking like proprioceptive and, you know, something tangible. And when I hear you speak, it's a similar thing. It's that it's what the present. When you speak, you're speaking of, at least this is my interpretation, I'm not putting words in your mouth. You're speaking of presence. And when a live performer is present, man, what that audience can experience with you is transcendent. And that is why people go to live theater. And that is why we remember, right? Yes. Oh, you know, well, as artists, certain performances, but also as spectators, and you go to see work as well. Those are the moments we remember.
Absolutely.
The people, not the performances, the people who are performing. So yeah, just to hear you speak, it's that ephemeral presence that just whispers away in the next moment, and then you're present again, and you're present again, and you're it's that commitment. There's the word.
Yeah, it's a commitment to being present and excuse me, and just open, right? Because, and I think you also like have this spiritual sense about you too, but I feel for me, the only way to truly connect is to be that like vessel, be like the source of it into me, out to you, right? And this generosity, and absolutely requires presence, because I can't be thinking about my dinner on stage. I can't be thinking about what I ate last night, you know? So yes, and I think also, Helen, in time, throughout the years, you come to understand it on a deeper level. It takes that time, the maturity, so to speak, the loss of certain things and them being replaced by other things, letting go of things that do not serve you anymore as to invite in that which does serve you. Like all of these things apply to that space, absolutely.
That's gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah.
Now you have other enterprises going on. So you are the owner and creator of your own business. Please explain Sleek Fit.
Yes.
Your company specializing in body-mind rehabilitation, posture, and flexibility.
Yeah, so Sleek Fit is a creation and manifestation out of my love for Pilates, the Pilates system, which I have been a student of Pilates since I think maybe like the 2000s. And it has been a system in which I have put all of my energy into and focus when I am in it, and has given me such rewards of not having any injuries, the ability to have my body be symmetrically in alignment and balanced so that I can give the best performances possible, keeping my spine healthy, my brain, my focus, my breath. So my certification and training is through a particular sect of Pilates called Ramana's Pilates. And Ramana was a descendant of Joseph Pilates, like she was his direct disciple. And I have been training in this style, which is considered classical. I know there's like a ton of different kinds of Pilates and they're all great. Like, please, I'm not putting one over the other. But this particular training is very strict, and it focuses on the mind being present, being focused on the task at hand, and your posture and the balance and the symmetry. You know, because in dance, sometimes we only do one thing in choreography on one side, like over and over and over again. So this, and also in life, right? Like you're right-handed, so you're texting with your right hand, you're doing everything right-handed. And what happens to the other side of the body? It starts to kind of take in the impact of that, or the stress of that, and just the stress of life goes into your body, and then you're sick or something like this. So the system and Sleek Fit is really designed to just kind of address and bring everything back into balance, everything back into symmetry, to follow the path from inside of yourself that is wanting to be in balance, wanting to be healthy and at peace and feel good. So that is my main focus of Sleek Fit. And essentially, it is those principles combined with the physical work of the Pilates training. And yeah, it's been great. I have seen such transformation in people. And I'm so blessed to be able to help others. Like, for me, that's huge. And yeah, I created the company in 2019. It's my goal to eventually have a franchise of studios in LA and New York and Florida. And yeah, to have everybody from all walks of life benefit from being balanced. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, the word balance, you know, being off balance is also so important. It's because it's not an either, at least I believe it's not an either or.
Yes.
Because off balance doesn't have to be a negative. It can be you find the new, and you recalibrate your idea of balance. And when I hear you speak, it sounds like that is also what's incorporated. You know, you're in a state of recalibration and negotiation of
Always.
what balance means. Because
Yes.
if we think about it, that's kind of an every moment situation too, right? I mean, just think about proprioception.
Totally.
That's an active situation, you know. It sounds wonderful. And I just want to say it's sleek, SLEEKFIIT. So
Yeah. Double E, double I, sleek. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Now we come to the last three questions I ask everybody. Firstly, and I know there will be many, but perhaps just one that comes to your mind. Can you share a favorite or impactful memory from your creative life?
Yes. One of my favorite memories was while I was at Graham. In my third year of being at Graham, we were invited to go on this Mediterranean tour, which was Italy, Spain, Turkey, Greece, and I mean that alone is good. But
Exactly.
so we went to Greece, Helen. We were staying in this like amazing hotel in Athens. While we were there, I don't know what happened, but somehow like 3 of the cities outside of Athens were canceled, and we were in this hotel, poolside, like stretching, you know, eating. But the one opportunity performance that was not canceled was that at the Herodias Atticus, which is right near the Parthenon, right near everything that is important in Greek life. So Herodias Atticus is an outdoor theater for anyone who hasn't heard of it. And it seats about 6,000 people. Pavarotti, Sinatra, some of the top, Maria Callas, some of the top artists have performed in this venue. And we performed there under a full moon and stars above. And when we came out for our bow, it was so overwhelming, just these like applause and the screams of 6,000 people. And, you know, a normal theater is kind of like, you don't see the people out there and you feel them and you hear them. But in this experience, it felt, and it's like this almost like 360 theater. So it was just like this wall, this like globe of like cheers and sound. And then you had the moon and the stars, and you could see the Parthenon, and you could see like ancient temples. And it was just like, what is my life right now? And that was, it was like, what is happening? And that was, I will never, ever forget that
Beautiful.
moment.
Wow.
Yeah. I truly felt divine. I felt like a goddess.
Yeah.
Amongst the gods and the spiritual presence of these like temples. It's like I think it was created in like 160 AD. Like, what year is that? I don't even know what year that is. Like, I don't know, but you can feel it. You can feel it.
I know. I agree. In stone and wood, I agree. You can feel it.
You can feel it. Yeah.
That's beautiful memory. And then do you have a specific insight? Again, I know there are many. Do you have an insight to share?
I have many insights to share. Yeah.
Living a creative life, but if there's one in particular.
I would say is to be selective of who you choose to spend your time with. Be selective of who your mentors are, who your teachers are, because these people, at least for me in my life, have really been at the forefront of who I am today. They planted the seeds. I trusted them. They guided me. They connected me to people. Your tribe and your network is so important. And as artists, we're so sensitive, right? We have, our sensitivity is so heightened. So if you are in the presence of people that are like-minded and they have your back and they have your best interests at heart, you will be able to flourish and be all that you can be in their presence and with them. That's the one of like many, many things I have to say, but yes, that's super important. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can pass that on because you felt it.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful flow.
Yes. Yes. And like I have many people that I serve as that for today, like a mentor. And when I teach workshops about how to get ahead or how to change careers or how to pivot from what you're doing, yeah, I always try to be that light, that pillar that those people were for me. It's incredibly important.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you were for me, Helen. Thank you.
Aww.
Absolutely, you were. And continue to be, you know, through what we're doing now. It's a blessing.
But I also believe it's very reciprocal.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure you have found this with, if you've worked with college age people, that you know, you have to be there for everyone. But it's funny, I learned through years of teaching, I used to spend so much time trying to get the person that was truly not interested. I worked so hard to try to get that person interested, sometimes at the detriment of the people who truly were interested. That was that you have to show up for everyone, but there is a reciprocity, of energy.
Yeah.
You know, in that exchange of giving. And that's
changing people's lives, you know.
It'd be very fulfilling, but because you're also, I don't know about you, but I also get things. There is an exchange of energies, you know, in these mentorships, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then the last question, big question. In supporting and building a more equitable dance community, what are some specific daily practices that we can be active with?
You know, I was thinking about this, and one of my like New Year's resolutions generally was to be more in contact with the people that I love and care about. And I would like to bring this into this response because I think it's really important to stay connected to fellow artists, stay connected to people that are like-minded and you share similar artistic sentiments for. People that are just starting to create their own things, or maybe they are established, and to really let them know that you support them daily, weekly. That is really important. And to just offer like an ear, you know, for ideas and for creativity. And because sometimes I'm speaking from my own personal life, sometimes you don't think that what you have to say is necessarily important, or you're not sure how to say it, or you don't know how to start. And as a daily practice, just thinking about and reaching out to people that I know are working on things, or people I can talk to about my inspirations, my artistic visions and feelings, is a hugely important thing for our community to continue to uplift and support each other. And also, I cannot stress the importance of self-care, self-love through meditation. And you need to have that in order to show up and be present for others in the community.
That's true. Yeah. Natasha, man, wow. That
was a lot.
No, again, no, it's not a lot. It's simply wonderful. We're at the end of our conversation, and I'm just, you know, again, I haven't spoken with you in a very long time, and to hear and see the light, everything that you've become, and like the maturity and the evolution, just it's just wonderful. You'll experience this at my age when you look at someone that you've known for a long time. It's just glorious to hear you. So thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
I want to ask you, where are the places that people can find out? So I'm talking about websites or Instagram, about you, about Martha Graham, but also about Sleek Fit. Can you just say those right now? So
yeah, so I am on Instagram. It's my full name, Natasha Diamond Walker, and that is my Instagram. And then also I have an Instagram for Sleek Fit, which is Sleek, SLEEK, F with 2 I's, IIT. Those are my 2 Instagrams. And I also have a website, which is natashadiamondwalker.com. And the website for Sleek Fit is sleekfit.com. So those are my social media platforms, and my email is diamondwalker@gmail.com. So I can be reached through any of those.
that's great. Good. Yeah, I hope people reach out to you for Sleek Fit and also to find out more about you. But so if anybody wants to find out a little bit more about Natasha, you'll have a short description, a short bio of her in the description page that will accompany this video. And we have new guests every week. Our next guest will be choreographer and educator Alia Kache, who, yes,
Alia.
very well. And now is my thanks, Gracie Spina, my intern, mentee, co-producer. Thank you so much for your contribution. I want to thank our dance community, which has held me up and held us up through everything, given so much light. And Natasha, thank you so much. An absolute pleasure. I wish you the very best.
Thank you, Helen. You have been such a blessing in my life ever since I first met you at Alia. Like, I've been inspired by your energy and your generosity and your heart, and you really follow your intuition, and that is a beautiful thing. And it's something that I've always remembered and I will never forget. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye.